And if there are any comments from the audience, just feel free to toss them right up here. Oh,
What's up, Vault Dwellers? Dan here. Hey, you know what I love more than anything? It's a great comedy that just nails its era. So today, we're counting down our series of the greatest retro comedies ever from the vault. We're going to be talking about telekinetic debauchery, some Tom Hanks debauchery, and one of the most iconic movie scenes in cinema history ever to be paused on your VHS.
Hi, Brad.
Now, before you storm the comments, yes, ever is a big word. But these aren't just funny comedies. These are time capsules. Cultural landmarks. You know, the kind of films that shaped how an entire generation laughed, quoted lines at parties, and judged each other's VHS collections. From scrappy little gems to bona fide box office monsters, every one of these has earned its spot. So go grab your snap bracelets and settle in, because it's time to get rolling. Spring Break came out in 1983, and let me just set the scene for you. You're 12 years old, it's a Saturday afternoon, and then this thing comes on HBO, and you have never seen so many bikinis in your life, and your brain just short circuits, and that's how the movie gets you. It's not a clever movie, because it's not really even trying to be. It's about 4 college guys heading to Fort Lauderdale for spring break. And the comedy comes from watching them fumble their way through every possible interaction with the opposite sex. There's a wet t-shirt contest, some rich preppy jerks, and a climax that involves a political scandal so half-baked it makes a soap opera look like a documentary. But here's the thing, guys, it just makes you laugh. The scene where they first walk into the hotel and they realize it's basically a broom closet with a window, that's like every vacation I took in my 20s. You know what makes Spring Break land on this list? It isn't the sophistication, it's the vibes. The movie is a time capsule of early 80s party culture, and it's got this goofy, infectious energy that's just impossible to hate.
Make it 8 here.
The Friday the 13th guy, he directed this, you know, Sean Cunningham, and you can tell he was just having a blast pointing a camera at the beach and letting chaos happen. Cheap Trick, they did the theme song, and there's a young Jeff Garland floating around in the background somewhere. And the whole thing was shot in actual Fort Lauderdale during spring break. It's sloppy, it's silly, and it's exactly the kind of movie that made being a kid in the 80s feel like you were getting away, which is something just by watching it.
Wow. What the hell's going on here?
Nobody touched her, swear to God.
Well, what's she screaming for, Punk?
Nothing's going on, Robert. He didn't touch me. The wind blew it open.
Zapped dropped in 1982, and the premise is so just beautifully stupid. I absolutely love this film. Scott Baio, He plays a high school science nerd, and he accidentally gives himself telekinetic powers through a lab experiment with some mice that goes wrong. And what does a teenage boy in 1982 do with the power to move objects with his mind? Does he fight crime? Does he save the world? Nope. He uses to pop the buttons off girls' blouses. And that's pretty much the whole movie. I mean, literally, that's like the whole movie. Oh man, that prom scene is just off the hook. Bayo goes full Carrie at the school dance, except instead of pig's blood and fire, it's just clothes flying off in every direction while the entire student body loses its collective mind. It's the dumbest, most juvenile use of telekinesis in cinema history, and I cannot stop laughing every time I've watched it. So here's what I love about Zapped, right? Underneath all the silliness, the cast is actually having an absolute amazing time. Willie Ames as Bayo's best friend, he's just hilarious as the scheming buddy with a camera who immediately sees the profit potential of psychic powers. Scatman Crothers shows up as the baseball coach and brings more charisma to 5 minutes of screen time than most actors bring in an entire career.
Help me, Mr. Einstein! Barney!
Is this movie high art? No, I mean absolutely not, right? But it's the kind of movie where every scene has at least one moment that makes you snort, and that sometimes is all you need.
Whoa!
Was respected by his fellow men.
Here we go. Get out of here.
Moving Violations pulled up in 1985, and if you've ever wondered what would happen if someone took Police Academy and crammed it into a traffic school, well, congratulations, because this is your movie.
No, Mrs. South, it's the other one. No, don't throw it in the trunk. Oh my God, look what Did I do something wrong?
Not from where I stand.
So a bunch of terrible drivers, they get sentenced to driving class together, and naturally, the instructors are corrupt psychopaths played by Fred Willard and a scene-stealing Sally Kellerman.
Are you gonna be a good boy?
Yes, Mommy. Yes.
John Murray, who is Bill Murray's younger brother, he leads the ensemble cast as a wisecracking rebel, and he does this thing where he channels about 70% of his brother's delivery without ever really feeling like a knockoff. The scene where the entire class takes to the road test and it turns into a demolition derby, it is pure chaos comedy. Cars going through fences, over curves, it's just pandemonium in the best way possible. And Fred Willard standing there with his clipboard trying to maintain dignity while the world burns around him, it's just comedic perfection. But the real hidden gem of Moving Violations, it's the cast. Jennifer Tilly is in this before anyone knew who she was, doing her breathy voice thing and just stealing every scene she's in.
Now give Maddie's attention.
And get this, Don Cheadle makes his film debut in this film. You know, War Machine, future Oscar nominee. There's something about the 80s comedies where you could just stumble across future legends hiding in the background, and Moving Violations is just loaded with them. The jokes fly fast.
Don't be silly. I can see as well as you can.
The car gags are surprisingly well done, and the whole thing moves at a pace that never lets you get bored. It's comfort food comedy, and I mean that as the highest compliment possible.
Alec! Chief! Whoopsie!
Hey, look, it's a picture
picture of Leon.
His Holiness says you're off your rocker if you don't look inside the locker.
It's the locker!
Midnight Madness showed up in 1980, and it's one of those movies that just nobody saw in theaters, but everybody saw on cable. You have 5 teams of college students, and each one is color-coded like a pack of Skittles who compete in an all-night scavenger hunt across Los Angeles. And basically, that's it. That's like the whole setup for this thing. And it works beautifully because every team is a different comedy archetype. You got your jocks, you got your nerds, there's the sorority girls, the tough guys, and you got your misfits.
Hey, Harold, look what Emilio can do.
And watching them clash while solving these puzzles is just the purest of fun.
Excuse me, Adam. My hand must have slipped.
The scene where they all converge on a hotel at the same time and it turns into a full-scale foot chase through elevators and lobbies and parking garages, it had everybody rewinding the tape over and over as a kid. It's like a live-action cartoon. Now here's the thing that most people don't realize about Midnight Madness. You see that skinny kid playing Scott with the yellow team? Well, that's Michael J. Fox in his very first movie role. You know, before Family Ties and Teen Wolf. You know, before any of it. He's 18 years old, and he's got like 12 lines, and you can already see the screen presence that's going on to make him one of the biggest stars of the planet. David Naughton from American Werewolf in London, he's the lead.
Yeah, you're coming with us. Come on.
Eddie Deason, our favorite nerd, is doing his super nerd routine.
22nd from the east and the 23rd from the west. You guys think that means anything?
And the whole thing has this infectious midnight energy that just makes you feel like you're part of the game. Oh, and by the way, Disney made this movie. They were so embarrassed by it, though, that they didn't even put their name on it. Well, I mean, their loss. This movie is an absolute blast, and it created a template from everything from Amazing Race to escape rooms who owe it a debt.
This is the happiest day of my life.
You know, there's a terrific moon out tonight.
Bachelor Party crashed into theaters in 1984, and I need you to understand something. This was Tom Hanks before the Oscars, before Philadelphia, way before Forrest Gump. This was Tom Hanks as a maniac.
I changed my mind. I don't need a blood test. I'm not even gonna get married. The wedding is off, Chief. Bear. Chicken.
And he plays Rick Gasco, who's a Catholic school bus driver who's getting married. And his buddies throw him a bachelor party that goes so far off the rails, and it makes Animal House look like a church social. The scene where the donkey shows up at the party, and the situation just escalates in a direction I'm not even supposed to describe on YouTube. Anyways, Hanks just rides the chaos like a surfboard, delivering every line with that manic energy that makes you understand why this guy was destined for greatness.
He says he's having a wonderful time and is thinking of changing his name to Spike.
His timing is surgical, even when the material is absolutely filthy.
That's another example of better living through chemistry. I said that's another example. Are these on or am I wasting my time?
What kills me about Bachelor Party? You know, it's the little moments, like the running bit with his buddy Brad, who keeps botching suicide attempts throughout the entire movie, and really nobody seems particularly concerned about it.
No. Have fun first and then have a few laughs. Look, just forget about the marriage just for a couple of hours, all right? This is a party, remember? Go out there and party.
Or the scene where Hanks goes to dinner and systematically destroys every ounce of goodwill in the room while grinning like an idiot.
I'd like to adopt this 17-year-old Korean girl I had my eye on for a while. I figure why beat around a bush, you know. But, I mean, this pup is fertile, and I know I'm perfectly capable, so you don't have to worry. You'll have some American grandkids in no time at all. No, thank you.
And there's the climatic fight in the movie theater where the real brawl syncs up perfectly with the 3D movie playing in the back.
This is the best 3D I've ever seen.
This is clever filmmaking hiding inside a movie about a party with hookers and illegal fireworks. Tawny is charming as the bride-to-be, and Adrian Zmed is perfect as the party planner.
Gentlemen, ladies, for your viewing pleasure, meet Max, the magical sexual mule!
And just the whole thing is a reminder that the 80s, they knew how to throw a comedy together that was raunchy and funny in equal measures. They don't make them like this anymore, and honestly, they probably can't.
Whoa! The cops!
Car Wash rolled in back in 1976, and from the second that Rolls Royce title track hits, you're just totally locked into this film. This movie doesn't really have a plot, like in the traditional sense. It's essentially just a single day at a Los Angeles car wash, but that's all it ever needs to be. The comedy comes from the characters just bouncing off each other like pinballs.
Stand and deliver, honey.
You've got George Carlin, who's a taxi driver who spends the entire movie trying to track down a hooker that skipped out on his fare. And it just gets progressively more unhinged every time he circles back.
Did you happen to see a big, tall, black, blonde chick here with
big black blonde
red
chick?
boots?
Blonde, big black?
Yeah, black blonde.
You have Richard Pryor, who shows up as Daddy Rich, and he's a gold-draped preacher rolling in with the Pointer Sisters as his entourage. And every single second he's on screen, you know it's comedy gold.
Well, for money. Yes, sir, and I know where it is. It's right here in my pocket.
You know what makes Car Wash so special? Why it earns this number 5 spot? It's not just funny, it's got a heartbeat. These characters, they feel like real people. Antonio Fargas as Lindy gets one of the best pull-down lines in 70s cinema.
What's going on, men? Honey, I am more man than you'll ever be, and more woman than you'll ever get.
The scene where the guy in a full body cast comes through the car wash and everyone just has to pretend that it's normal, totally priceless. The comedy is wall to wall, and the soundtrack just never lets up. The whole thing pulses with this funky, chaotic energy that makes you feel like you're just hanging out with them. Ice Cube said that this movie inspired his Friday movie, and yeah, I can totally see that.
It's the invisible man. Now look, man, look.
If you haven't watched Car Wash, you kind of owe it to yourself and your ears. That soundtrack alone is worth the price of admission.
Can I help you, honey?
Yeah, you haven't by any chance seen a tall, blonde, black chick around here, have you?
No.
Romancing the Stone swung in the theaters back in 1984. And I know what you're thinking, right? This is not a comedy. Oh, it absolutely is a comedy. Yeah, I know. It's an adventure movie, sure. But it's also one of the funniest adventure movies ever made. And the comedy comes from the chemistry between Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner.
How much?
$50?
Oh, shit.
Well, you said you just lost everything you owned.
Not my sense of humor.
Which is so electric, it practically crackles off the screen. Turner plays a romance novelist who gets dragged into an actual adventure in Colombia, and watching her go from screaming at mud to machete-wielding jungle survivor, it's one of the greatest character arcs in 80s cinema. Like the scene where she and Douglas are sliding down the mudslide, and she's shrieking, and he's laughing, and they crash into the pond. You're going to be laughing and holding your breath at the same time. And one of the greatest actors ever, Danny DeVito's in this thing. Good Lord, he's amazing.
Oh, Dio, Americanos, spit on him. I hate the Americanos and scummo.
And he plays Ralph, who's a sweaty, scheming little crook who's perpetually in over his head. And every single scene he's in is just an absolute gift to behold.
I lost my Langostino.
Douglas and DeVito, they were actually college roommates in real life. And that real friendship bleeds through like every scene they share. You know, here's what gets me about Romancing the Stone, right? The studio had so little faith in his movie that they fired Zemeckis off the next project before this thing even came out. Then it made like $115 million, became one of the biggest hits of '84. And Zemeckis, he used the momentum to go make this little movie called Back to the Future. Sometimes the best comedies are the ones nobody believes in.
Let's lose him.
This guy's crazier than I am.
Gracias, yeah.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High landed in '82, and I don't care how many teen comedies have come and gone since then, this right here is the gold standard.
Sorry I'm late. It's just like this new schedule's totally confusing. Yeah, I know that, dude.
Mr. Spicoli.
That's the name they gave me.
And it all comes down to basically one man, Jeff Spicoli. Sean Penn created a character just so iconic, so perfectly realized that 30 plus years later, people still say, oh, awesome, totally awesome, in that exact same surfer drawl.
Awesome! Totally awesome!
The pizza delivery scene alone should be in the Smithsonian. Spicoli, he orders a pizza to Mr. Hand's history class in the middle of a lecture, and when it arrives, he doesn't even flinch. He doesn't apologize. And Ray Walston's slow burn as Mr. Hand, going from disbelief to fury to cold, calculated revenge, is one of the great comedic performances in movie history. Their rivalry is the backbone of the entire film.
Hamilton, Brandt, Kornfeld, up front. Mr. Spicoli has been kind enough to bring us a snack. Be my guest. Help yourselves.
But Fast Times, it isn't just Spicoli, and that's why it's number 3. You have Judge Reinhold getting fired from All American Burger after threatening a customer with,
Moron.
Mister, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna kick 100% of your face.
and of course, we all know the fantasy sequence at the pool. I mean, you know the one. It's the one that everybody pauses on. Phoebe Cates, red bikini, slow motion, and then the hard cut to what's really happening in the bathroom. It's one of the greatest comedy edits of all time. This movie has so many future stars hiding in it that's kind of unfair. You got Nicolas Cage in the background.
Brad, your sister's turning into a fox.
Forrest Whitaker's playing football. Eric Stoltz is wandering around somewhere.
Uno dinero.
Amy Heckrich directed this whole thing at like 28 years old. And Cameron Crowe wrote it after going undercover at an actual high school at like 22 years old. The comedy in this thing just hits so hard. But the reason it lasts is because these characters, they're just actually real. At least back then they were real. It's funny because it's true. And that's the hardest kind of funny to pull off.
Mr. Hand, will I pass this class? Gee, Mr. Spicoli, I don't know. That's nice. I really like that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave your words on this board for all my classes to enjoy. Giving you full credit, of course, Mr. Spicoli.
All right.
Slapshot blazed onto the TV screen back in 1977, and if somehow you haven't seen this movie, you probably need to stop this one right now. Go find it and watch it immediately. It's that good. Paul Newman plays Reggie, and he's the player-coach of a last-place minor league hockey team in a dying steel town.
How could anybody in his right mind buy a fifth-place team?
That situation is going to be changed, I guarantee you.
And his solution to saving the team? Well, just let them be as violent and insane as humanly possible. And then enter the Hanson brothers. 3 bespectacled, toy-obsessed goons who look like they wandered out of a mental institution, and they play hockey like they're trying to commit felonies. The scenes where they suit up for the first game and just immediately start a bench-clearing brawl before the puck even drops. I mean, it's one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen in a movie. The crowd goes from horrified to ecstatic, and the opposing team, they're just terrified. The Hansons are having the time of their lives.
And I think that was Jack. Well, it was Jeff or Jack. These brothers are stomping all over.
It's just pure, chaotic, and beautiful comedy. Newman called Reggie his favorite role of his entire career, and you can just totally see why. He's loose, he's funny. He's so profane in ways that make, a sailor blush, and he's just clearly loving every single second of this thing. The locker room scenes are basically improv sessions where these guys are riffing on each other so naturally, you forget you're watching a movie.
Make one phone call. Call the pizza man. Why'd you call a massage parlor?
And the dialogue in this movie is so vicious in just the best way possible.
Fuck with him. It was a garbage win.
Nancy Dowd wrote the script based on her brother's actual minor league hockey experience, and you can feel the authenticity in every filthy, hilarious line. By the time you get to the final game, where the opposing team sends out a figure skater to counter the Hansons' violence, I mean, you're laughing so goddamn hard your ribs are killing you. Slapshot is the funniest sports movie ever made, and I'm willing to argue with anyone, anywhere, and any time about that.
Got my eye on the 3 of you guys. You pull one thing, you're out of this game. Now I run a clean game here. I have any trouble, I'll suspend. I'm listening to a fucking song!
Mom, I don't think he's breathing. Oh my God!
I think that did it.
Yes?
If you're gonna eat steak, get some sharper teeth, all right? Enjoy your meal.
Groundhog Day arrived back in 1993, and it takes the #1 spot because it's not just the greatest retro comedy.
Dinner with Larry and me?
No, thank you. I've seen Larry eat.
It might be one of the greatest comedies ever made. Shit, it might be one of the greatest movies ever made.
We got a major storm here.
I make the weather. All of this moisture coming up out of the Gulf is going to push out to the east and then out Judah.
How? You got that moisture on your head.
Bill Murray, he plays Phil Connors, and he is just an arrogant, cynical weatherman on television, and he gets sent to Puxatawney, Pennsylvania every year to cover the Groundhog Day. He gets trapped living February 2nd just over and over and over again. The concept alone is brilliant, but what Murray does with it, it's just on another level.
Connors!
Ned?
Watching him go through the stages and the confusion, the excitement and the abuse of power, it keeps going, the despair. Anyways, it's just absolutely hilarious, and it's a masterclass in comedy acting.
Didn't you take some kind of course that covered this stuff?
Yeah, sort of, I guess. Abnormal psychology.
Like the scene where he kidnaps a groundhog and drives off the cliff. It just might be one of the funniest scenes in 90s cinema.
Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry.
With this movie, though, it's just so many small moments that make this movie perfect. Who doesn't love Ned Ryerson? Ned the Head.
Ned! Ryerson!
I mean, that insurance salesman who corners Phil on every street of every morning, and then seeing how Phil deals with him throughout the movie and the noises he makes. It's just this amazing little comedy arc. And I absolutely love the scene where Phil, he's memorized like every single detail about the diner.
Excuse me, is this some kind of trick?
Well, maybe the real God uses tricks. You know, maybe he's not omnipotent. He's just been around so long, he knows everything.
Catching the kid falling out of the tree.
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? You little brat? You have never thanked me. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe.
Becoming the fastest jack in town with the old lady's tire.
It's nothing, ma'am. I had the tire and the jack. Just be comfortable, all right? Be a minute.
This movie is like watching a comedy ballet. Murray and Harold Ramis apparently clashed hard on set because Murray, he wanted to go darker and more philosophical, while Ramis wanted to keep it funny. And somehow that tension created just the perfect movie.
Groundhog, they used to mean something in this town. They used to pull the hog out and they used to eat it. You're hypocrites, all of you.
They didn't actually speak for like 20 years after this film. But you go watch this thing now, and all that friction turned into something that's just transcendent. Groundhog Day is hilarious, it's moving, and it changed the way people think about comedy. And it earned every ounce of its #1 spot. There's just never been anything else like it.
Hey, you like your guys with the prominent upper teeth?
No.
These are the movies that just proved you don't need CGI or $200 million budgets to be funny. You just need great timing, fearless performers, and the willingness to commit to a joke no matter how insane it gets. Hey, before you go, make sure you check out some of our other comedy countdowns right here on the channel. We've got plenty more where this came from. And trust me, the vault never runs dry. Oh yeah, and keep it weird, folks.
Don't say you don't remember me because I sure as heck fire remember you. It's me, Ned Ryerson. Needle nose Ned the head. Come on, buddy. Case what's her name? Hey!
Come on.